It's the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 215. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. We're talking Golden Gopher hockey this week on the Go Gopher Podcast. It was 2 weeks ago this week that the University of Minnesota named a new men's hockey coach. His name, Brett Larson. He came to the Maroon and Gold after a successful stint as head coach at St. Cloud State. And he's now with us this week on the Go Gopher Podcast. We'll find out how the first 2 weeks on the job have gone, what's next, what the vision is, and what makes the new head coach tick, and more. I can't wait to chat with Brett Larson this week on the Go Gopher Podcast. Our Go Gopher Podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Hey, make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Longtime Gopher sports supporter Cub is a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm. In a hurry? Don't worry, Cub delivers. Get fresh meat, produce, everyday essentials, and more delivered to your door. Cub is the official grocer of the Golden Gophers and proud to support Gopher athletics for over 20 years. Shop happy. The Go Gopher Podcast is also presented by OnX Maps. Find out how to download the OnX Fish app for free by listening to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's that time of year. Get out on the water and use OnX Fish when you do. We're podcasting episode 215 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We invite you to subscribe or to follow the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to do so. You can also go back and listen to previous Go Gopher Podcast. Last week, for example, we had new Gopher women's hockey coach Boom May on the show, and it's still timely, so go back and have a listen if you haven't heard it. This week, we're staying at the rink. We're talking Gopher hockey once again, men's hockey this time. Brand new head coach Brett Larson will join me next.
Hey Gopher fans, Jalen Crocker-Johnson here from Minnesota men's basketball. In basketball, wins come from preparation, trust, and executing when it matters the most. That's how True North Mergers and Acquisitions approaches selling your businesses. True North M&A is a local alumni-owned company and a proud sponsor of Gopher Athletics, helping businesses of all sizes make winning moves. Thinking about selling? True North's M&A helps maximize your life's work and close strong in crunch time. Visit tnma.com for confidential conversation.
This is Jim Suhan for TSR Injury Law, 612-TSR-TIME. TSR Injury Law started off as a small business. They are now a large, very successful business because they help people, because they win cases. If you are injured, call 612-TSR-TIME. They will help you out or point you in the right direction. They will not charge you unless they win your case, and they win a lot of cases. We don't want you to need their help. They don't want you to need their help. But if you do need their help, call 612-TSR-TIME.
It's episode 215. We are talking Golden Gopher hockey with new head coach Brett Larson. And, man, great to see you. And it's I know it's been a busy couple of weeks here. 2 weeks as we record on this Tuesday, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Was it? That you were officially introduced. So does it feel like 2 weeks or 2 months?
Actually, it feels like 20 minutes. It feels like
the other way.
Yeah. Things have just been flying. It's been a lot of fun. But, boy, you jump into a job like this and you hit the ground running right away.
What has if anything, has anything surprised you so far? I mean, I know it's early, or is this kind of what you thought you'd be jumping into?
You know, it's mostly exciting stuff, trying to build a staff, build relationships with the team, get the leadership group going with the team and moving forward there. You know, that's been a big part of it, obviously, getting to know people around the campus and within the athletic department's been a lot of fun. So it's all been fun stuff for the most part.
When you get a new job, how important are the first couple of weeks, the first month, to maybe set the tone of expectation of how you want to operate, of what people can expect from the head coach?
Well, that's what you said, the word right away. I use that with the players, what my expectations are and what our standards are going to be. And we've had a few team meetings right away to make sure that the guys feel that they understand where I'm coming from, what the expectations are going to be, and what standard I'm going to hold them to. So that's been a fun part of it. We've had we had a leadership group meeting this morning. We've had, like I said, a few team meetings. and now I'll start my individual meetings this afternoon. So I'll meet with each player individually here throughout the rest of the week.
So is that kind of the next immediate group of things? I know you've got long-term vision, a lot of stuff going on. I know portal's going to heat up here in a little bit. Staff, all that stuff. Is all those things kind of the next little bit?
All comes at once. Those are things we've been building and working on. I've been out to see our current recruits as well. I was on the road last weekend to see those guys, and you want to make sure that there's the ones that are coming in are comfortable with the change. And luckily for me, the guys that are coming in this year, I've had a relationship with most of them already. There's a familiarity there. So I'm really excited about the group of guys that are coming in this year going to join us.
And I know maybe in some cases you can't talk specifically about maybe how it's going to unfold. Maybe there's still a lot of unknown. I don't know. But what can you tell us generally about roster retention, additions, defections, whatever you might have? Because certainly the roster will look different, I suppose, than it did a year ago.
Obviously, you're hoping no defections. You're hoping guys, grew up wanting to be Gophers and they want to continue to be a Gopher. So that'll be part of it. For me, obviously, as a new coach, though, you come in and you want to put your stamp on a team. So there will be some tough decisions on that part of it there as far as building this roster. The transfer portal will be a piece of that. Recruiting will be a piece of that. And putting this team here together in the next couple of weeks, where I think once we get through the portal, the fans will have a really good feel of what this team's going to look like.
And I know you've talked with a lot of folks. You've done some podcasts. I don't want to go deep into the hockey part of it. I got other stuff. I mean, it's going to be hockey, but it won't be maybe into the weeds, the way die-hard hockey. But I do want to ask, Canada has opened up a little bit with the top league there. NIL changes the game. Minnesota is a big brand name, so kind of how does that all work?
Well, I can tell you we've already been up in Canada since I've taken the job, and there's a couple players that we're targeting that we think could help us right now. We're hoping that that's going to pan out. But growing up in Minnesota, knowing the history of Gopher hockey, our bread and butter's here. We've got the most talent right in the state. We're going to make sure that we get the right players right out of Minnesota that grew up wanting to be Gophers. There's something about a kid that grew up wanting to play somewhere. It means a little bit more to them. It's special to them, and you want those kids. So, but I am going to leave the door open to supplementing that talent with whether it's the pro, some of the pro kids out of Europe are available. The major junior kids are available. So my job's to build a championship team, and yes, it's going to be mostly Minnesotans, but we're going to find ways here and there, I think, to augment that.
Yeah, when you get that Minnesota kid at the Mariucci ice and the Rousers playing after a goal, right? I mean, that's the extra heartbeat you want on a team.
It's a dream of a lifetime, right? Yeah. For any of those kids. They grew up playing, ball hockey in their alley with a Gopher jersey on, probably dreaming of scoring goals in that rink. So that means something to those kids, and you want to make sure those kids are part of the program.
My background in hockey was nothing, basically, until I moved here. I grew up in Iowa. I'll compare it a little to you. Like, you're a Duluth guy, a Bulldog. Now you're coming to the Gophers. I grew up going to games at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa. 20 years ago, moved here. My first official deal was a football luncheon in St. Paul. They used to do an annual luncheon. Glenn Mason was the coach. And I had it really wasn't I just was sitting there. They just said, come along, my first week on the job. And when that Rouser played the first time, it was a little, hold it a second, what are we doing here? This is counterintuitive. It did not take long, though. I don't think it'll take long. Because you get to know people, this has now become your life, and then pretty soon it's pretty
Well, as
pretty
a coach, you go through a lot with these players. You go through their ups and downs in their lives. You're connected to them as a human being. It doesn't take long until you're in that locker room and you feel part of a family, and that's the Gopher family here that I've got to earn trust and build that for sure, but I'm already all in. I tell you, sitting in that locker room the first day, it was a little bit of awe for me even to really pinch myself a little bit and say, holy cow, I'm the head coach of the Minnesota Gophers, which is sometimes hard to believe even, So for me, it's not going to take much. My kids and family are extremely excited. The players that I've already spent time with, we're going to become a family quickly.
Yeah, and then from that standpoint as well, again, my background, not much in hockey, but since moving here, it's been cool because I do football and basketball on the radio, and people who listen to me do games know I want the Gophers to win. I get excited when they do. I get bummed when they don't. But there's a job aspect to it, like it's a preparation. There's a show to put on. And then you really, like, the fandom comes through a little bit, but there's other stuff. Yeah. So Gopher hockey's kind of become, I'll go to the games when there's not a conflict. Friday night, I'll be home if it's a home football game. You guys start so early in October. Yeah. I'm watching Gopher hockey, putting finishing touches on my football boards, and it's the one chance I get to dress up in Gopher gear, not worry about what anyone in the press box thinks. Sit there. I'm the idiot up there that yells, shoot, shoot.
Well, you're that expert.
Yeah, I'm the dumb expert up there, but it's so fun, and it's such a cool thing, and it's really kind of caught my, just whenever there's an open night and the Gophers hockey are playing, I'm still learning. Slarks is helping me and others. Pat Micheletti keeps trying to give me some pointers, educating me a little bit. But man, it's really cool to watch, and it's such a big thing. Community hockey in Minnesota, so huge. You mentioned the Minnesota aspect of it. There's no place in the country that really does hockey the way Minnesota does.
No, we've got such a special thing here, and we hope we never lose it. But growing up, playing in your neighborhood for your squirt and peewee team, playing for first these kids before they dream of being a Gopher, they dream of playing in the state tournament and playing for their high school team, and it's just this natural progression of they all have the dreams, and there's a few of them that have lived it. The Neil Brottons that have played here that have lived all of them, right?
Yeah.
So playing in a state tournament, playing in the Olympics, playing in the national championship, playing in the NHL. Pretty much, if you asked any kid that grew up in Minnesota, that's their dream.
Yeah.
And there's some Gophers that have lived that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so you're the Gopher head hockey coach. What's the vision for Minnesota hockey for you?
Well, for us is to immediately get the program back to where it deserves to be. There's too much history and legacy here. Obviously, last year didn't go the way anybody had hoped, and I know everyone poured their heart and soul into that season, and it's our job to take it right back to where it needs to be. There's certainly some changes I will make, but I also get to build off a great culture and a lot of really good things they've done in the past. So I'm excited about it. I know the players are excited about it. I get to put my stamp on this team a little bit, which is going to be a team that really cares about each other. It's a family feel. We're going to get skilled players to compete very hard. We're going to have a little grittiness to our game. We're going to get up and down the sheet, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So I can't wait to bring some of that family and grit into this group, and I know the guys are going to love it.
Yeah, and from that standpoint, what is I know Brock Faber came out and talked about his experience with you, I think, in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And that you were a player's coach. So what's the fine line between demanding that grit, demanding the performance that you want, but also being a player's coach too?
Well, you got to find a line of I think the biggest thing is that trust factor, that when they get to know me and they know when I hold them accountable and they don't like it, I'm doing it for them, and I'm doing it for this program. And you have to build the trust and the human relationship first, because then I believe when you push these guys, when you get on them, they know you're all in. They know it's to help them get better. They know it's help the program to get better. You're not doing it just to try to be tough. You're doing it for them, and I think that's when you get the most out of your players.
The Big Ten has had quite a year. Football national champion last night, as we record on Tuesday. Last night, basketball champion for men, the day before basketball champion for women. That's never happened in the same school year that the same league has won football, men's and women's basketball. Wow. There's a chance it can win hockey too now. Yep. And obviously it's a relatively new situation with Big Ten hockey. So my question is now, coming from the NCHC to the Big Ten, those are really, the two of the three big powers, leagues, right?
Yeah.
And you could probably argue they're the two when you look at the history and who's won.
You look at the Frozen Four.
Right now, exactly, 2-2, right, in that deal. Are you pulling for the Big Ten? It's kind of a weird situation for Gopher fans, right? Yeah. You've got two border rivals. You've got it's probably not ideal. But that said, is there league pride? On one hand, you want the Big Ten finally can get this monkey off their back like they did. But then again, it's like, do you really want the team next door or the team across
I don't know how to explain this. Right? I'm a horrible loser, and I'm not cheering for anyone.
There you go.
It's just that's how I am. I don't even want to watch it. Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I will, but it's one of those things where you are just so distraught as a coach that you're not there, to be honest. And I know our players are feeling the same way. It's almost impossible for me to cheer for anybody, to be complete. If I'm going to answer an honest question on the show, it's hard to cheer for anybody right now. So,
will you watch it?
I will watch. Yeah, I'm sure I'll watch if I can. I'll watch it. And you know what? In saying that, I'll maybe there's some people I'll cheer for. Nick Oliver was my assistant coach at St. Cloud. Now he's at Wisconsin. There's people within those groups that if they win, I'll be happy for them individually. But that's about as far as I can go.
Yeah, and the desire then, I suppose, for you to have your team in there. You were there with St. Cloud, obviously. You were there with Duluth and Ohio State, right? In terms of big stage in that Frozen Four, you want your team now, the Gophers, to be in that spot.
Yeah, you know what it is. It's life short, and you only get so many opportunities at something like that. And I want our players to experience that. I want them to experience what those kids are going through right now. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. You're on the big stage. You're in the Frozen Four. That's what you practice for. That's what you train for. I want our players to experience that.
Yeah. NCHC and the Big Ten, it's an interesting juxtaposition, so to speak. Big Ten, with all of what we just talked about, money coming in, revenue share, all of that. But let's face it, hockey is probably not the number one priority for Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner. He's got football and some other revenue generators. NCHC, on the flip side, is a hockey league. Right? I'm thinking, this is how Radio Guy envisions it, is that if a head coach has an issue, he can just, from the NCHC, he's just going to call the commissioner and say, hey, I got an issue. You know that person. I don't know if that's the case in the Big Ten. Maybe Coach Motzko in the past had just called the commissioner of the Big Ten. So on one hand, maybe the Big Ten offers more resources generally. Yeah. More stable situation, but it's not a hockey league. How do you look at those two leagues, and does it matter?
What I look at is the trajectory, right? The Big Ten has just gotten better and better and better every year, and I was fortunate to be a part of it at year one. Yeah. So now coming back again, I'm looking at the trajectory of the league, and I don't think it's peaked yet. I think it's going to keep getting better. I think it's continued to grow every single year and get better and better and better, and that's what excites me about it more than anything.
Yeah. It's hard to win it all, right? Yeah. I mean, everyone looks at, we all live in our own world. Like, man, it's been 23 years for the Gophers. And it's like, man, that's a long time. That's a blue blood program. But so this morning I was curious. So North Dakota, it's been 10 years. Yep. Now I'm talking, these are what we think blue blood. Wisconsin's been 20.
Yep.
Michigan's been 28.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now Denver, they've had they've had five since the turn of the century. Michigan State's been 19. Boston, it's been 17 years. Boston College, now it doesn't seem that long ago, 14 years ago. Notre Dame's never won it. Yeah. So it's hard to win. And in the meantime, since about the last 14 years, Union's won it, Yale's won it, Providence has won it, Quinnipiac, they've won it. UMD's won it 3 times. Western Michigan won it last year. I got to bring up UMass, apologies, but they've won it too. Like those aren't what you'd call right? Yeah. Those aren't blue bloods. Well, that's how hard it is to win it.
It's the parity of college hockey. It's the one thing that I think makes our sport really special is, anybody can beat anybody. I mean, the fans will see it throughout the year. When you're playing a non-conference schedule, sometimes the fans will think, they're just playing somebody from some other league and it's going to be easy. It's never easy.
Right.
No matter who you play, every night's a big night. Every night matters, and there's not an easy game in college hockey, and the stats that you just read off prove that.
Right.
Anybody in this country can win a national championship right now because of the parity.
Do you think they should expand beyond 16? Because there's probably teams that didn't make the field that if you played it 100 times and add, they might win a couple.
I do. There's a couple things that I'm really in support of. One would be home ice or home venues for the NCAA tournament opening round. 2 would be expanding the pool a little bit. The college hockey has grown since they started at 16. I don't know what the exact number is, but I do think there's an argument for expanding the tournament.
There is something kind of romantic about the one-and-done nature of hockey, too. That said, would you prefer openings round 2 or 3 or anything?
It's probably not going to happen.
Just too much
I think
time?
Any coach would tell you, yes, we'd love that if it could happen, but I just think logistically that's tough.
Yeah,
I do. So if somebody asked me to vote on it, I'd vote for a 2 or 3 game series to start, but I just don't see that in the cards right now.
Now, on the flip side, that the 16 seed is probably saying one's fine with us.
For sure. I just think the home ice in the first round is critical. I think, especially if you've earned a top 8 or a top 4 spot, you've earned something. You've earned the right, I think, to play at home, be protected a little bit, play on your rink, have that advantage because you've earned it.
Yeah.
And that's the one side. The other side is student-athlete experience. I'd rather see these kids playing in front of full crowds, great environments, big games. Some of these regionals can be tough when you're playing in front of, you've just played in your conference tournament and played in front of 10,000 people, and now you're going somewhere in your biggest game of the year and playing in front of 15 100, where you can hear your mom and dad cheering for you up there. So I'd love to see the change.
And there's even the potential. It's happened occasionally. Let's say like the Gophers in 23, they were clearly the number one seed. Yeah. There was a chance that, and I forget, did they go to Fargo or Sioux Falls? Fargo.
They beat us in Fargo. So
that's right. Yeah, that was
St. Cloud.
That was right. It was St. Cloud, and Mankato was in that one too.
Yep.
But because North Dakota's the host of that, and if North Dakota had sneaked into that thing, it could be that the number one team in the country goes into Fargo and plays in a road game, in essence.
There's some crazy scenarios with that whole thing. That's why let's go top 8 at home and see it from there.
Yeah. Women's basketball does that. We just saw it here with the Gophers winning the first 2 games, and it absolutely had an impact on them making the Sweet 16.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why not get rewarded for your hard work during the year? I'm a big proponent of it. I know most college hockey coaches are.
All right. You've been to 4 national title games. What does it take? So we just referenced how hard it is, even for blue bloods, just to get through it. So in your mind, what does it take to get to the mountaintop?
Well, I will tell you that there is a little luck involved. There's no doubt. There's a bounce of the puck here. There's a puck either off the post and in, off the post and out. Some of those things come into play in a one-game elimination for sure. But just like earning your seed at home to play at home, hopefully you've built and earned your identity of how you play, and you have to trust that when you get to the tournament. You can't try to become someone else. You can't get the players thinking they got to do more. You got to get them believing in what you built, who you are, play to your identity, and hopefully just play at the top of your level that you're capable of playing, because there are so many things out of your control that you need to control what's in your control. And I think the teams that are best able to turn off the noise, turn off the distractions around them, not get that feeling that they got to do more or be something different, but really trust in what they've built, I think they have the best chance.
What did you take from your experience in 21, taking your team all the way to the finals?
It's hard. That's one of those that so much pride, but then how it ends, it's so hard, and to get that close. The program had never been to that game before. It's funny because I remember the first national championship I was a part of at the X against Michigan when I was at Duluth, and Derek Plant, the assistant, and I were walking out to the bench for the overtime, and we said to each other, we better win this thing because you never know if you're going to get back. We've never been here in the history of the program, never been in this game. They've been in the game once but never won it. And fortunately we did in overtime that game, but it's just so hard to get there. That it's so devastating when you don't. But what I took out of that, it was all the things I told you. If I learned something, I think maybe the night before the game I might have got too emotional with the team. And looking back on that now, I wish I would have just business as usual. We need to be us, But I kind of went into what I loved about every guy and us being a family, and it got super emotional. When we get the opportunity to do it again, I'm going to take some of those experiences and make sure we do it the right way.
Yeah, and then you mentioned the Duluth win in 2011. You were part of another title there. What do you take from that part of the side of it too, where you win it all? You cut down the net, so to speak.
Yeah, you do, and you remember how great that feels at the end of the year, and the sense of pride, and you're looking at your phone after the game and seeing 500 text messages, and just that feel is amazing. And I think more than anything, what I take from it is how special it is. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. I want our players to experience that. It's a once-in-a-lifetime feel. It's something that you can't replicate. There's not much in life than that can replicate that type of feeling. And I'm going to bust my butt every single day to do what I can and control what I can control, to give the players an opportunity to earn that and get to experience it.
Brett Larson, our guest, Gopher men's hockey coach. Real quickly, let's chat about one of our great sponsors, OnX Fish. It's time once again to get in the water and do some fishing. Weather is warming up, and for the best bite, use OnX Fish from OnX Maps. OnX Fish is your pre-trip cheat code. Before you even pull the boat out of the garage, you can sort by species, trophy and keeper potential, abundance, and more. So you're not guessing. You have a plan before you even get the boat onto the water. Spring means new water too, so don't waste a trip. Use OnX Fish to filter for walleye, bass, panfish, whatever you're chasing, and see species abundance and size data so you actually know what's in the lake before you launch your boat. Download OnX Fish right now on the App Store or visit onxmaps.com/fish. Spring fishing is here. Go to the lake you've been driving past for years and never fished, and finally find out if it's worth the launch.
Know what the happiest bird is? Chicken. Cub fried chicken. Wait, let me rephrase that. Know what bird makes people happiest? Cub fried chicken. Crispy, crunchy, juicy, perfectly seasoned. It's the kind of chicken that disappears faster than you can say, 8-piece, please. Or, let's be real, maybe 12-piece. Because when it comes to fried chicken, more just means more happy. So if you're shopping chicken, shop Cub fried chicken and shop happy.
Hey Gopher fans, Bobby Durkin here from Minnesota men's basketball. In our program, championship culture is built on toughness, trust, and showing up every day to do the work. That's why I'm proud to support the True North family of companies. True North invests in elite teams, like the championship team at True North Mergers and Acquisitions, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and their family of independently owned companies, visit thetruenorthfamily.com. That's how champions are built.
You're from Duluth. Describe for me your what you think of Duluth. What you're like. I'm sure people ask, "Hey, you're from Duluth. Tell me about Duluth." So tell us in your words, in Brett Larson's words, what Duluth means and how you would describe it.
Well, it's funny because everyone says I'm a Duluth guy. I actually coached at St. Cloud longer than I coached at Duluth, and they'll reference that a lot. Now I grew up there. I had some Gopher idols early. It's funny, Rob Stauber and Corey Millen were two of my favorites growing up. And my first college hockey game, I played against Minnesota, and I talked about it in my press conference. I just got smoked that first shift by Trent Klatt. But growing up in Duluth, it's a hockey town. I was just talking to the staff about it. You grow up, your squirt hockey's outdoors. What's more pure than that? You don't play on an indoor rink until you get to Pee Wee. You stand in the snowbanks. My parents did. I got to stand in the snowbanks when my son played. I don't know if people know this, but up there, so part of being a part of the Youth Hockey Association as a parent is you're on a flood crew, and that means one night a week at 10 o'clock, you got to go back to the rink and you got to flood the ice. You got to pull the fire hose out and you got to go out there and flood, and there might be a couple, beverages in the warming house here and there for the dads and whatnot. But that's part of the hockey culture up north that I really, really like, standing in the snowbanks, watching kids play hockey outside. I don't know if hockey gets more pure than that. How
do you think that shaped you? When did it become a thought in your mind that you want to do hockey forever, coach and do? I was really young. So how I grew up was I grew up across the street from Merritt Park, and I'd love to share the picture sometime somewhere on social media. But our jerseys, Merritt, were maroon and gold with a big M on them. So I think there was a foreshadowing there. And so after school, you would literally before I could tie my own skates, my parents would tie my skates, put the skate guards on. I'd walk across the street in skate guards, and I'd be at the rink from after school until they shut the lights off at 10 o'clock. And then you'd put the skate guards back on and you'd walk home. And that's all I did. You played pickup hockey with your buddies and you dreamed of playing college hockey. You dreamed of going to the NHL and, that's what you did. And that's all I did. And I loved it. All right. So here's a little bit of a tricky question. You referenced a couple of Gophers from Duluth. Your former boss, Scott Sandlin.
Corey's from Cloquet. So I'll give him that one.
The neighborhood. We'll call it the neighborhood. Yeah. Your former boss has made that a pretty good little power up there. Yep. Can the Gophers go recruit Duluth?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. Those guys aren't going to like to hear it, but hey, you know what? You go where your roots are a little bit. There's a top player up there. We're going to go after him, and I think we have an opportunity to get him. So I know it'll be a battle against those guys, but why not? Kids grow up. I've said it in a lot of the interviews. There's just something about the Gophers. There's an aura about the program. The only analogy I can think is a Canadian kid growing up with the Montreal Canadiens. That's how I feel like the Gophers are for little kids in Minnesota, and so there's no doubt we'll be going head to head up there, and I'll be sneaking into Duluth without telling anybody here and there, and getting into some recruiting wars for sure.
And we jokingly, you mentioned Cloquet and others. There is a neighborhood up there, that whole area.
Well, I don't know if I can get into Hermantown. They got that locked down pretty good.
They might have fence around there.
I think they do. So there'll be like warning lights going off if I cross the border into Hermantown, but we'll see.
But there's other, talk just that general area. You've got Hibbing, you've got Grand Rapids. You can go get Gophers from those spots, right?
Duluth, all those areas for sure. There's no doubt. We'll be up there. We'll be recruiting the top players up there, no doubt.
Well, I know you've got an HR meeting. Everything is HR now.
It is.
We got to make sure you're covered. Your health insurance is there. A couple of just quick ones before we let you go. What do you like to do? This is non-hockey stuff. What do you like to do when you're not concerning yourself with hockey? Free time, hobbies, or activities?
Yeah, I know this is going to sound cliche, but for me, my kids are at a pretty fun age. My daughter's 12, my son's 17. They actually still like hanging out with dad a little bit.
About that? Yeah.
So, I'll try to golf with my son. I'll hang out with my daughter. She's really into gymnastics. She can't wait to get over here and meet the gymnastics team. And I'm looking forward to meeting the coaches. I to be honest, I like spending time with my kids as much as I can, because that's sometimes the one thing as a coach that you do sacrifice some family time here and there, and that's tough. So, if I get a day at home, it's usually just, my son and I think it's pretty cool. He loves to still go out in the yard and play catch with the football. So in the summer we'll be out playing catch most evenings and doing things like that. So I'm pretty simple that way.
Yeah, and he is finishing up. He's a senior.
He'll be going into his senior year in Sartell. They had a heartbreaker this last year, lost in the section final. I know they want to avenge that and get to the state tournament next year. So our plan will be to move the family down next summer. Yeah. I'll be doing some commuting and probably get a place down here where I can rest my head on the weekends and stuff when I'm not going to be running back and forth. But for our family, I think it's a really good thing to let him finish. But my daughter, on the other hand, she was doing gymnastics down in the cities for a year, and she's got a bunch of friends down here, and she can't wait to move down. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so some coaches say they read books. Yep. Other coaches say, I don't have time for that. I'm diving in.
Yeah.
You a book reader, movie watcher, music listener?
You know what? I'm a podcast listener. I do like that. And I always read an occasional book about how successful people read books, so I feel like I'm forced to have to read a book once in a while.
Just to say it, right?
So it's funny you say that right now, but I do read some coaching books. I do really like to get into the mind of coaches sometimes, and kind of listen to their process and a lot of the things that we do, and it's interesting. Whenever I've gone to situations and worked with the elite coaches, whether it's on the Olympics with NHL coaches or in the World Juniors, we're teaching a lot of the same things, but sometimes there's just a better way to communicate it. And that's what I found, trying to be a better communicator with the players through the experiences that I've had.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. This is an awesome kind of get to know you. I'm looking forward to watching your teams play. I mean, and now the fun's just beginning, right?
Here we go. I can't wait. I wish it was October right now. That's the hardest part of this job right now is we got too much summer to go through. I wish it was October.
Yeah, and you guys have the longest season in the history of the world,
We
right?
do. It's the longest season in any sport. And I know people in Minnesota don't want me to wish summer away because we love our summers here.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for hockey.
Very good. Great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Brett Larson, our guest. It's episode 215 of the Go Gopher Podcast.
My thanks to brand new Gopher men's hockey coach Brett Larson for spending some time with me on the Go Gopher Podcast during this very busy time for him. It was fun getting to know Coach Larson a little better, and I hope you all enjoyed listening to our conversation as much as I enjoyed being a part of it. Episode 215 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. Cub is a proud supporter of Gopher Athletics for over 20 years and a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm. Cub, bigger savings on the items you love. Shop happy. OnX Fish also sponsors our show, Happy Fishing from OnX Maps. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and please right now click that subscribe or follow button to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to follow, free to subscribe, and free to listen at any time. And please share the link to the podcast with others so they can subscribe and listen as well. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please let us know with some positive feedback on your social media channels. We'll talk again next week.
Know what happy is? Veggies. Crunchy, crispy, colorful, seasonal, aromatic, juicy veggies. Produce at its freshest. Cub produce. Best produce, period. Guaranteed to make you happy or will replace it. No questions asked. Because good produce makes veggie lovers happy. Just remember, fresh, happy. Stale, limp, and wilted, not happy. You want to make a veggie lover happy? Shop Cub for produce. And shop happy.